Let me ask you a hard question. Have you ever paid off a credit card only to run it back up a few months later? Have you ever screamed, "I'm finally debt free," and then life hit, and suddenly you were back in the same hole that you once were in? And before you freak out and you think something's wrong with you, I can tell you, you're not alone. Most people, they just don't share this part of their debt journey with most of us. In fact, over 60% of people relapse back into debt within just 24 months. I was one of them actually. But you may be wondering why and how do you make sure that that's not your story? Well, today, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break down the real reasons why most people fall back into debt and how most of those reasons, they actually have nothing to do with the amount of money that you make. Now, I can tell you, this isn't gonna be about budgets and spreadsheets. We're not gonna talk about that at all. This is all about what happens after the final payment is made. That's when the real battle begins. Now, here's the truth that nobody wants to tell you. Getting out of debt is extremely hard, but staying out of debt is way harder. Debt isn't just financial. It's also emotional and it's also behavioral. And if you don't change how you think, how you feel, and how you respond to money, you're always going to find yourself repeating the cycle every single time. The number one reason why most people relapse is basically because life happens and they basically don't have a cash buffer. For example, you have an unexpected $1,000 expense happen. Your car breaks down and that's basically your only means of transportation, so you have to have your car fixed. Without a savings, most people, they're just going to swipe their card again. And just like that, the balance starts to grow back all over again, right? One swipe leads to another swipe to another swipe. And if you're wondering how you fix this or you keep this from happening, my suggestion is you got to start small with building an emergency fund. All right. Start off at a month, but eventually get to 3 to 6 months of an emergency fund of just your expenses before you celebrate your debt freedom. This way, freedom, it doesn't just feel weak or fragile, but it also feels strong and fortified. All right. Having that emergency fund, it's going to make you feel more comfortable, more well-rounded, have something to fall back on versus nothing. All right. The second trap is sneaky. And what I mean by that is it sneaks right up on you, and that's lifestyle inflation. So what is lifestyle inflation? Basically, you get a raise, you pay off your car, you're finally free. So now what? It's time you treat yourself, right? But before you know it, you got this nicer apartment, you got this luxury car, you're going on all these vacations, and all of that, it eats up every single dollar of your freedom. So what happens? You actually didn't increase your wealth. You just upgraded your chains. Lifestyle inflation is basically when maybe you got a raise at your job, maybe you got a bonus on your job. You basically have this extra money. Same thing if you have this $300 or this $500 debt and you've paid it off. And now you have this extra $300 to $500 every month. Instead of you saving that money from the bonus or the debt, you just spend that money. All right. You may get a new apartment, a more expensive apartment. You may get a nicer car, or you just may use that money for shopping now. You basically have increased your lifestyle without saving. All right. That's basically what lifestyle inflation is. A way to combat this or to fix this, you got to stay grounded. All right. And what I mean by that is let your income increase, but let your lifestyle stay the same, at least until your net worth grows. All right. You want to make sure your net worth grows before you start trying to increase your lifestyle. Jumping into the third reason, have you ever noticed that you don't just spend when you're broke? You spend when you're lonely. When you're anxious, you actually spend. And you actually spend when you feel like you deserve it. I remember I got a raise or a promotion at work, and I went and bought an expensive watch because I felt like I deserved it. What that is, that's referred to as emotional spending. And emotional spending is probably one of the most dangerous relapse triggers. That's because it looks like self-care. But the reality is self-sabotage. A way to fix this, start tracking your triggers. What causes you to want to make a purchase? Something I have found about myself, the more that I stay on social media, and I'll say Facebook, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of them, even YouTube sometimes. When I'm just not using my time wisely and I'm just death scrolling and I'm just looking at stuff on social media, I see things that I want to purchase and I ended up purchasing them. And this is more so in the past, right? This isn't the new Tyrone, the Tyrone that you see today. This is the previous Tyrone, all right? Maybe it's not social media for you. Maybe it's your friends. Maybe you see your friends when you're going out with your friends or you're hanging out with your friends. You see them with these nice shoes on or this nice watch or this nice dress or whatever. Maybe it's your neighbors. Maybe your neighbors invite you over to their house and you see this nice kitchen set or living room set that they have. All right. To me, that's keeping up with the Joneses. What you need to do is you got to start journaling. And the reason I say you want to start journaling is because you want to journal what is triggering you to have this emotion rise up in you to want to purchase this thing. And then I would also suggest that you pause for 24 hours before making a purchase. And I want you to ask yourself, is this purchase healing you or is it hurting your future? All right. Something I need you to do for me. I need you to stop allowing your emotions to impact your future. All right. I'm going to repeat that for you because I need you to fully hear that. And I'm going to say it a little slower. I need you to stop allowing your emotions to impact your future. Your future is the most important thing. So don't allow your emotions to dictate it. The fourth reason, to me, it's the biggest mistake I see most people making after becoming debt free. And that's that they don't set a new goal for themselves, which basically means there's no financial structure. All right. Basically, you've paid off all your credit cards, all your debt. Now what? Typically, there's no savings target. There's no investment plan. There's no next mission. And when your money has no assignment, it wanders. All right. And wandering money finds its way into trouble, just like wandering minds. Let me stop joking. But what you need to do is, after debt freedom, set up your next milestone. Build an emergency fund that, like I said, 1 month starting off, then get 3 to 6 months of your expenses. Also set up a retirement account where you're basically investing anywhere from 5 to 15% starting off. I would also start a side hustle to bring in additional income. And you may want to consider purchasing your first investment property. But the biggest thing, you want to make sure you create a financial independence timeline. These 5 goals, I can promise you, they're going to help you to grow your wealth as well as build your net worth. All right. The final and 5th reason why most people relapse back into debt is simple. They haven't changed their circle. Now, I know that this one might sting a little bit, but you got to hear truth, because at the end of the day, they say the truth is what's going to set you free. If you're the only person in your circle talking about financial freedom, staying free, it's going to feel lonely. Understand this. We're influenced by what we normalize. We're influenced by our environments. If everyone around you lives in debt, if they shop emotionally, and if they avoid discipline, guess what happens to you? The same thing that everyone else around you is doing. You're going to fall into their same traps. So I would suggest that you find a tribe that talks about freedom. All right. What you got to do is you got to join some communities like this one, right? That focuses on building wealth. And also start watching content that feeds your growth, not your appetite for instant gratification. You're going to feed your knowledge of finances, of getting out of debt. And if you're watching this and you're thinking, I've already messed up, I've already relapsed, well, hear me out. You're not a failure. You're not back at square one. You're just more aware than you were before. And to me, that's a gift, because now you can start again and you'll be smarter this time with new boundaries and new accountability, because freedom is still yours if you're willing to fight for it. All right. Debt freedom It's not the destination. It's a decision you got to make every day. All right. And you make it every day, one small habit at a time and one smart choice at a time. So if this video helped you, I need you to do me a favor. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. All right. Make sure you like the video because it definitely go a long way, right? It definitely will help me. It'll help it to get out there to the algorithm. And make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the notification bell, because here what we're trying to do is we're trying to build this momentum and help individuals, 9-to-5 employees and millennials and professionals who are focused on unlocking their untapped potential, trying to help them build real wealth. And that comes with building discipline, purpose, and power. All right. So we always say, let's learn together. Let's grow together. Let's do it together. Later.